If you've ever wished that you had cruise on your vintage bike, or maybe on a newer bike that just didn't come with one, there are good options. There are some not great options that simply lock the throttle and you have to manually unlock it, but the system I'm going to be installing today actually incorporates or integrates with the brake lever so that when you hit the brakes, it will automatically disengage the cruise. Now, this product will only work disengaging if you hit the front brake. It's going to be deactivated by that, so that's a little safer than, you know, just having to manually do it with your thumb. Now, you can actually manually disengage the one that I'm going to be showing you, but it also works with the brake lever. The one I'm going to be installing is the BreakAway. Now, I really like this company. I've installed a few before. We've had really good luck with them. The one I'm going to be installing today is the 7CP05 model. I should also add that if you want to get a BreakAway product, but you don't see your motorcycle listed on their website, send them a message, because they didn't have the Silverwing on there either. The guy said, email me some pictures, top, bottom, sides, of your brake setup, and he would let someone know and they would get back with me. The very next day, they had one of their techs email me back and say, based on your setup, this is the one that you need. Installation for all of them is going to be pretty similar, but they are bike specific because of how the mechanism is set up and how your brake lever and everything is set up too. You are going to need a few of your own tools. This comes with all of the adapter rings that will fit your grip. It's going to come with the mechanism itself, all of the hardware that you need. It's going to come with these 3 Allen wrenches. You are going to need your own 5/16 wrench, your own 7/16 wrench, and a Phillips screwdriver to get this done. Before you get started, there are a few things that you need to do prior to actually assembling this. The first thing you're going to need to do is make sure that if you have a carbureted bike, you want to turn the fuel off. And this is going to be especially important if you have an accelerator pump, because you're going to be twisting that throttle a lot and you don't want to force a lot of gas in there and then you flooded your bike. You want to loosen this nut down here where the lever is attached. You want to check the lever and make sure that you don't have like a whole lot of wiggle out here at the end, because that could cause the unit to jam and not work properly. And the other thing you need to do is to make sure that your throttle snaps back. If it doesn't snap back properly, you need to adjust that before you install the unit. I have a little bit of a different situation going on with his bike because his grip has this paddle on it for cruising. So ordinarily you would not have to remove the grip on your handlebars to be able to install this BreakAway system, but because his is like this and I cannot remove it and it won't go over this, I did have to take it off. Prior to assembling this on the bike, you're going to need to do a little pre-assembly and little prep work with this. The first thing you're going to do is take your rod and put it in this hole. You're going to take this screw, put these guys together. I'm just going to kind of hand tighten it for now. I'll go back and deal with it later after it's on the bike and I know that it's where it needs to be. You're going to take this bracket and you're going to put it on the end of this rod with this bolt and washer that they sent. Get that guy started. The next thing I'm going to do is take this middle-sized Allen and I'm going to loosen these screws just a little bit so that this will slide easily on both of these little slots, because it'll need to be able to kind of float around to get positioned correctly. The next thing I'm going to do is taking your Phillips screwdriver. We're going to take out the 4 screws in the ring. Do not lose them. They are very small and very easy to drop. I'm going to put them all together so we know where they are. I don't want to lose them. And the next thing you're going to do is to loosen these 4 set screws using the smaller of the Allens. And you're going to back these out so they're just kind of flush with the inside there. I'm going to do all of them. This is what's going to hold your ring in position. And you don't want it to be bound up when you're trying to put it together. There you go. Now, speaking of the ring, you're going to want to use one of these 4 adapters and fit it to this area of your grip. And keep in mind, it would normally be on the bike, but because of the situation I have going on with this paddle, I have mine in my hand. So you want to put it on there so that you have a little bit of a gap. You don't want a huge gap, and you don't want it to overlap. You think of it, this is what is actually gonna be able to hold your grip in position after you set this. So now that we've got the pre-assembly done, we're gonna move along. Prior to actually putting this on the bike, I do need to tighten one thing, and that is on this particular model, you're gonna take where your little slider is here, and your little arm is like this. This screw is going to be on the top. This screw is going to be on the side. So you're going to hold it like this, where this is going across this. You're going to hold it in that position, and you're going to tighten that all the way up. And it has a little bit of Loctite on it, so you're going to have to mean it when you tighten this up. Alright, so I'm ready to put this on. Now ordinarily you wouldn't have to put this all on the grip like this. You would just slip them over the end, but because this has the paddle, I have to do it this way or I'll never get it on. So I'm going to put this guy back on here. There we go. Now we're all the way on. I have my cover ring, my unit, and my adapter ring back here. So the first thing I'm going to do is to take this bracket with the single hole. I'm going to put this back on the bolt for my lever. And I'm going to put the nut on just kind of loose for now. In the instructions, it stated that you should have this rod rotated in a specific way when you put this on here. And it looks like that's going to work for mine. I honestly wasn't really sure because of how this grip is, if everything was going to work right. But I'm going to hold it like this. So you have a screw adjustment out here and one on the top. I'm going to hold that in that position, and I'm going to tighten this. And they have a little bit of Loctite on this already, so you're going to have to mean it when you tighten this up. On my adapter ring, right where these little grooves are, I'm going to make a little mark for each one of these, because you have to line up your set screws in your unit with these little lines. And when I have them on there, when I get this slid all the way up on it, I'll be able to see these little marks. I'm going to line up the little grooves that are inside my adapter ring with these little set screws that are in the unit. I'm going to line those up so that they stay where they're supposed to be. Before I start to tighten these, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to be able to reach all of these set screws. So I had to rotate my inner adapter ring around a little bit to make sure that I can reach all of these, because this one down here and down here are going to be a little bit of an issue, but because I have enough play in this, I'll be able to kind of wiggle that around and get those screws tightened. So I'm just going to run them in just until they touch. It says not to tighten them all the way, so we're not going to. Just after you have these screws where they're just touching on your ring, you're going to slide up your cover ring, and we're going to line up the holes in the ring with the little Allen screws underneath, because we'll need to go back and tighten those again after we get everything set. So I'm going to replace my 4 screws in this and move on to the next step. Alright, now that we have our 4 screws in here, we're going to take our Allen wrench, we're going to go through these little holes, and we're going to tighten these screws down all the way. Keep in mind that this is just going into plastic, so don't over tighten this. You need to adjust all of the linkage for this, and you're kind of going to just have to wiggle it around. The instructions for mine said to pull the brake lever in and then adjust this. This one, for this particular bike, won't really work until I engage the cruise. You'll see it pushes that up a little bit, and when I pull in, it will disengage. Okay, so how this works, this is the engage button, this is disengage. This is what they're talking about when they talk about the cam. What this does, if you can see, it meets up with the brake lever. Now this is engaged, and when I pull this lever in, it pushes this down, which disengages the cruise. And that is how this whole thing works. Alright, so we're cruising down the road. We want to stay there. We're going to push this button. Then we can let go. See how it stays. We need to slow down a little. Push that. It lets it return. Now you also want to make sure after you're done that you still have the same snapback that you did before you started. Henry's going to put up some videos so you can watch more Vintage Vixen. I'm going to plug this thing in. This thing is dead.